Alright everybody, this is going to be your Grenadier Training video. Go easy on me, haven't practiced this much. Well, maybe a little bit, but nevertheless we're going to go into the training range, the firing range, and do some Grenadier training and show you what your job is, what your kit should look like, what you should be doing, and how you can practice doing it on your own time. I think this firing range is extremely valuable for Grenadiers. So let's jump to it. So if you're private, you're able to do Grenadier training, and this video is going to talk about what you can do to get prepared for that. Now, this is a little kit I made for my Grenadier class. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but first thing you should look at is, well, we can put a 2x sight on this and sidearm, so it's a little more universal. But nevertheless, your requirements are to have a heavy carrier. I believe you're supposed to have light armor, but you're definitely supposed to have an AT4, a frag grenade, and an explosive launcher. So there's a lot of requirements on this class. You can't escape that. Now these may change in the future, but for now, expect that these are your requirements. So there's not a whole lot you're left with when it comes to points. If I got rid of everything I didn't have to have, it'd be down to a weapon with an explosive launcher, right? So the only way you can really get an M4 build on your Grenadier is if you sacrifice something like you're sacrificing like a sight or something else. I have 3 points left to either put towards an optic or a laser. Now I could go laser with a 1x, right? It's not a bad build. Or I could go for a like a 4x1 or a 2x1 or something, There's a couple options there. I'd probably stick with the laser sight and the 1x because I think you can do a lot more. You can still do pretty good with CQB with the laser sight. It looks cool too. But for this training, I'm going to run with the M16 because I think more Grenadiers are going to run an M16 since it's slightly more viable given the point cost, right? So I can really deck this thing out. And I can give myself a sidearm, right? And if I wanted to, I could spend that last point on a 3x scope, or I could get rid of the sidearm and do a 4x1. So I have a lot more options available to me. With this last point, I could get a gas mask, or I could get a flashbang. These are pretty much the what I think the best options are, given what I have here now. To get rid of a sidearm and a throwable and a gas mask for an M4, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think anybody's doing that anytime soon. So unless we slack up on the requirements here, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of M4 Grenadiers.
Okay, let's go.
Here we are in the firing range. If you've seen my rifleman training video, you know what the firing range offers you. It offers you a few options on the laptop here. It offers you an observer, lots of little targets all around that you can shoot and blow up. It's got some long-range targets to shoot at, and it's got a bit of a CQB range through these 3 buildings here behind you. And there's some little tidbits of these little targets here. I think there's some on the back patio back there as well, but we're not gonna care too much about that because the Grenadier has a lot of other things we need to practice. Hopefully you've seen the rifleman training video. If you haven't, I highly recommend you go check that out and get familiar with these weapons because they're the same weapon system. But the difference is the attachments and the rest of your point cost. Okay, so let's talk about it. Well, I've mentioned a little bit about the kit. Now the reason we require a heavy carrier is so you can carry enough explosives, but also I believe the heavy carrier changes the number of grenades you can carry. See in the bottom I've got 2 there. I believe if I put on a light carrier, I only get one. See that? So it cuts down on my effectiveness as a Grenadier, and I think it's worth the 2-point cost, given what they can do. And we'll dive into that right now. So, as a Grenadier, what is your job? Well, it's to blow things up from a distance. Whereas, somebody who's an engineer or demolitionist would be more of a C4 mine laying, close proximity, timed and remote charges. The Grenadier excels at blowing shit up from a distance with rockets, grenades, and your M203 40 mics. Here, 40 mic, that's just 40 millimeter grenade. But the M203 grenade launcher is going to be your best friend here. So, you hit down on the D-pad to toggle between your rifle and the M203 launcher. You can aim down sights and you get this fun little crosshair that allows you to sort of scope in where you want to shoot your grenades. It's not fantastic, but we're going to talk about what its pros and cons are and how you can use it in ways that most people don't. But as a Grenadier, your number one job is to blow up enemy technicals with your AT4. We'll get into that later. Your second job is to clear out large concentrations of enemies in a very short time using your 203. So you see a group of enemies, you fire the 203, maybe there's a building you're trying to approach, you want to clear that out, hit it with your 203. And personally, from my experience, I've spent over an hour here training at the rifle range. Shooting into buildings with a grenade launcher is the most effective option for the Grenadier and your 203 in particular. And we'll show you why, and I'll demonstrate for you why. But before we can demonstrate, let's talk about the mechanics of your 203, your grenades. And to do that, we're going to hop down here. I'm going to show you a little handy tip you can use at the rifle range that I didn't talk about in my other video, and that's ranging with regards to these laptops. So you can see here, if I run up to this van and I turn around, I'm 16 meters from this laptop, I'm 24 from that one. These ranges can help you determine how far you are from something visually, so you can get a better eye of where a target is relative to you. And that's going to help you judge the distances of your grenades and throwing and shooting and everything that comes along with it. I'm going to take my 203, I'm going to shoot it from about 11 meters away. And you can see I took no damage. My guy was very upset, but he took no damage. I had no blood splatter effect. I'm going to step to 10 meters. You can see I took damage there. The arming range, that's not the arming range, that's the splash damage, splash radius of your explosive is about 10 meters. It could be a little longer, like 10.5. I'm not exactly sure because I don't have floating point arithmetic here in front of me. I just have straight integers. So about a little over 10 meters is your splash radius for your 203 launcher. And you can see how far I am and get a good judgment of how close actually you can be to shoot this thing without taking damage. I mean, that's pretty close to be fully safe and shoot this thing. The arming range is about 7 meters. So if I shoot this thing here, it doesn't do anything. It would kill a man if you hit him with it, but it's not going to do anything. And by the way, to quickly restock here, I'm just hitting pause and then square. Pause and then resupply. Pause, resupply. And that will give you your 2 grenades very quickly. You can actually just go up and hit triangle, but you see I still have a shell in my chamber, so I have to reload. Once I finish reloading, I hit triangle. I can actually restock my grenades here. I don't actually know if that is available in game. I don't think it is. I don't think anybody can replenish their explosives, but somebody should try that. I haven't done it, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure you cannot restock your 203s in game. But cool thing is here, and we'll show you when we're demonstrating the combat effectiveness of this thing, is you can constantly reload and see how good you are at how much time it takes to reload and get shots off successively. But what you need to remember is a little over 10 meters for splash damage, 7-meter arming range. So anywhere from 7 to 10 meters, you're taking damage. If you're about 7 meters away, you're going to die, even with light armor. With heavy armor, I don't think you do. And I think armor technically shrinks the radius that the explosive affects you. I could be wrong. It's kind of complicated to me, but I watched a video at one point, and I think laying down and like lowering your posture as well as putting on heavier armor actually just shrinks the radius that the explosive can trigger for you specifically. I may have that wrong, but I tried testing a different armor earlier and it didn't really change anything for me, so I don't know. But nevertheless, that's just so you understand how far you need to be and how far you can be to shoot these things. Now that that's out of the way, we're going to talk about some drills you can do. So there's two ways I like to do this. One is to be up here, up above, and one is to be down below, shooting the grenades. Now, you're not always going to be up top and have a height advantage on something. Usually you would hopefully have something like this on a defense, or you go seek out an elevated position when you're doing some kind of offense. But it's only really necessary if you're trying to engage these like ground targets you see back there. If you're trying to engage like a squad of guys, then you probably would prefer an elevated position, because your goal is to 9 times out of 10 hit the feet with the grenade. Okay, you want to hit like that splash pad there. You want to try to hit behind these walls, these fences that I'm aiming above. You want to hit to the side of these vehicles, because what's the enemy going to do? They're going to take cover, and they're going to essentially hide from you and take shots over cover, or they'll go prone, and it's going to be really hard for you to actually do anything with your 203s. Let's talk about the crosshairs now that we've kind of explained what your goals are as a grenadier and how you should be performing. You have essentially 2 nubs. You have the top notch, which is a little spike sticking up, and then you have the big fat nub on the bottom. Both of these are useful when you're aiming your grenade launcher. We'll just call them top and bottom sights. And what I find is that at about 45 meters, I want to aim the bottom nub at someone's head. And I got this tip from Warrant Officer Beam, actually. But it wasn't working at all ranges, so I found that like those targets out there are a very good grenadier distance, because more likely than not, my team is safe back here behind cover or in the building with me, so I'm safe to launch these grenades at them. So they're about 45 meters out, and I'll show how I know that. And if I aim at above their head, I'm aiming to the side, by the way, because if I shoot them dead on, the grenade's going to hit that and blow up. But I'm trying to demonstrate that as a grenadier, you want to actually make sure you're trying to aim at their feet, because if you miss where they move, that grenade is wasted. And wasting the grenades is the last thing you want to do as a grenadier. You need to make these things count. I repeat, you need to make your grenades count. So we're going to shoot their head from about right here. Okay, a little long. If I shot it from right here, probably be spot on. Yep, pretty good. So that was a bottom sight on their head at that distance. Sometimes, if you're not sure, you can kind of just aim the bottom sight at the torso, and you'll be pretty close to your target. See, and that's a good rule of thumb when the targets are what I like to call grenade throwing range. So if I throw a grenade, the furthest I can throw is about where those targets are. So if I judge that and use that as my marker, because you've thrown hopefully a over a dozen grenades in this game and know about where they should be landing. Use that as your metric for where to aim the bottom nub as your torso on the torso of a man standing where that grenade landed. Okay, so I'm going to try to aim sort of at the torso.
Hey, I'm
Boom,
reloading.
right next to their feet, and that's the perfect grenade you want to fire. Obviously, it's even better if I just aim it and hit the guy, because then I don't have to worry about that.
Good to go.
But it's not exactly a safe bet to make. So some people are just going to take the shot at a guy and get the shot off, and it'll be great, and you'll hit him and it'll explode. But then if you take that extra second to line up your target,
Reloading.
you're going to feel a lot better when he moves and you still get him. Okay?
Okay.
Obviously, restocking is going to be faster than reloading, so I highly recommend just doing that to get more grenades faster. But yeah, so that's kind of like the principle of what we're aiming to do on these ground targets here. Okay, this is just one of my capabilities as a with my M203. There's other things you want to do to use your advantage that people don't think about. That's using walls to create impact points. Because you saw how hard it was to line that thing up. Well, if I just aim at this wall and get my bottom nub on it, well, I'm going to hit that wall somewhere most likely. I can aim at the top of the wall. I can aim with my top sight a little lower, and I probably would miss. But if I aim with my top sight at the top of the wall, get pretty close. I mean, if a guy's in front of that, he's going to take damage from that grenade, okay? So walls are extremely valuable to bounce your nades off of for an impact. Now, obviously, if you're trying to hit somebody who's taking cover, right? That's not gonna do you any good by shooting the wall on your side. You want to hit the wall on the other side. But if there's a stream of guys running in front of this wall, by all means, shoot the wall with your grenade, okay? That's going to be way faster and safer than lining up a shot on some target, right? If you aim a little too high, it would have just gone over that hill and you would have missed. For example, if I'm trying to shoot a grenade right behind this car here, it's going to be tough to do. I've practiced this a lot, so just saying. But those are some what I would call the longest range targets you want to try to engage. I would say using those walls, hitting a target dead on, or trying to actually hit their feet at that distance. This is an awkward spot because you do have this hill across here, and if you miss, well, your grenade's going to go over the hill and land another 10 meters away from where you were intending to, or maybe even further. If it was a steady incline or a flat piece of terrain, you wouldn't necessarily have that problem, right? So if I'm aiming my grenade down range here, it's more than likely just going to splash another 3 to 5 meters behind where I actually attempted to shoot it. So, for example, we're going to land it right between, I'm going to ADS with this, right here, between this box and this fence. We're going to get a nade out right there. And what I'm going to do is kind of aim above where a guy's head would be, because I think it's about a little bit further than where those targets are. So I'm going to aim the bottom nub above where the guy's head would be, get it off. Perfect. Okay? And honestly, you're going to have to sit here, practice this, and get it down to a science. But it's going to really help you deal with these things. Anybody who's played farm knows where the enemies come from, and they rush along those fence lines. They rush through that field out there. This is not a bad spot for a grenadier to sit, although I'd probably prefer them being that building and shooting out that window on the final objective. But if you had to be up here because for some reason you were protecting your marksman, your gunner died, you and a marksman were coming up here to do some work, because you both can engage these targets, and also a techie usually comes up and can come up from that road up there, then yeah, you definitely want to consider practicing these shots, because landing a grenade right over that back fence there, see, shot too short, is it's pretty critical. What I should have done is aim to the side of the fence, and even if I missed, and shot at the same spot, grenade's gonna probably land pretty close to that fence. So even if I miss, I'm doing okay. So once again, try to shoot to the side of something that is going to be a problem shooting at, either because it's going to move or you need to watch out for hitting that short target. For example, this wall here. Let's say you got 3 guys hiding behind it or 2 guys. You want to get a grenade directly over that wall. Do you shoot directly over the wall like this, or do you shoot to the side? Well, it depends. Do you think the guy is over here, or do you think the guy's kind of in the middle? I kind of like this little lower slope on this side and that side, so I could get a grenade there. Additionally, I could just bounce it off the back of this box, and that's probably an even better spot to do, right? Because that's going to hit both guys on that side. That is probably the absolute best place to shoot that grenade. But if you had to, you didn't have that box, you know, you want to land it right over the other side of that wall. That's how you do it. To hit that wall, I believe it's probably about, 25 meters from me. That's my guess. 25, 26 maybe. Could be even further. I would say probably 26 meters. I'm going to aim with the nub kind of right where a crouched person would be, right? And that's kind of how I'm going to do it. That's kind of how I trained myself, is to use that bottom nub more than the top, because the top is going to be too hard to aim, right? And it's just not as easy. And more times than not, your drop off is going to be really drastic. I mean, if I'm shooting with the top nub, which I would expect is where the grenade's supposed to be going, and I aim at these white boxes, I'll aim at that corner right there, see where it lands. Look how short that landed. That landed like down by the car, okay? That landed like right here. That's a heck of a drop. So I find it way, 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 way better, just like Beam does, to use the bottom nub to shoot my grenades. See, it went right over that mound right there. That's a pretty tough shot to hit if you're trying to hit somebody on that mound. That's a rough spot. And we're going to show you how ineffective grenades are at these ground targets. So don't get excited here, because this environment, while you have really good positioning here, this is not that great for a Grenadier. I'm sorry, the game, the 203 in this game is just not meant to be to do this. I'm going to demonstrate that now. So we come over to the computer, and we're going to spawn a squad. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to constantly just pull new nades from here and kill them only with my 203. So here they come. I'm going to aim at that target, get that ground shot there. Okay, got one, I think. Let's do another. Look at him hiding behind that wall. Now, I missed over his head. What you probably want to do is try to hit him dead on, because you will get people that are really good shots, or sorry, really good targets. There. By the way, if they kill you, they despawn and the computer resets. So, we're going to restart it. But you saw how many shots they miss while I'm sitting there. I've had it where I've completely missed every shot, and I'm sorry, they've missed every shot, and I've had it where they've shot me on the first bullet. Shoot the guy. See, I hit him, and it created a backboard. So you can use the people as your backboard. And that is probably the best way to deal with people at that distance that are crouching and hiding behind stuff, is to use their own bodies against them. By the way, I'm sitting here kind of reloading, just to make sure that, like, I'm spending a little time and I'm not just constantly shooting grenades off without, any sort of, issue. So you saw there, I actually hit right in front of the wall where he was, and he did not die from that. I find a lot of times people will not die from the grenades. Let's hit the backboard of that wall. Look at that. Right next to the guy, didn't die. These grenades are fairly ineffective in the open range because of small imperfections in the terrain and the environment. That is my suspicion. Oof, That was a good one. So you can see using the computer where people are end up like taking cover. People are hiding behind that hill over there. They're hiding behind the cars. They're running in front of the wall. This is how you should probably train your mind to think about when you're preparing yourself to use your 203 to engage targets like this, you know. And so now that you've seen what a squad does, you can sit here and practice like on this van. So shooting a grenade right over the top of this van to hit somebody, right? Boom. And using it to even safely shoot on the side of the van, right? That was a little far back, but you see what I'm saying? You want to try to anticipate what the enemy's gonna do and get yourself set up for success by using your bottom nub to aim at the walls, near targets, hit them dead on if they're just sitting there shooting at you without moving. You know, if they're crouched or they're prone, try to hit them straight on. If they're standing, there's a chance they're going to move, but usually some of these standing targets are going to be actually your best bet to get a backboard of explosive off of. And that's what you want to practice a lot of times. So practice everything. Practice shooting these standing targets. Practice shooting the squads. Practice shooting around the cars. Practice shooting the wall as a backboard. Because the more versatile you are with this thing, the more useful it's going to be in these open air ground situations. You saw how effective it was. It took me like 6 or 8 grenades to kill that whole squad. It's not easy, and it's pretty ineffective in my opinion in open terrain. Mostly because of what I believe the small imperfections on the terrain are colliding with the fragmentations themselves and preventing a kill at 8 to 10 meters. This thing I think excels way more on these buildings you're approaching and indoors. I urge squad leaders and all leadership to engage your grenadiers to use their 40 mics on these windows and doors and walls. Before we do that, we're going to just demonstrate how we can judge these distances by using the laptop. This wall here, I said it was like 27 meters from that wall, just like I said. This guy is about 45, I think he's 45-ish. Yeah, 45 from that top laptop. These are all about the same here, 45, 44, somewhere along there. So, you know, use that to help you judge your distances. And looking back now, you can see what we're looking at. So we have a 2-story building with a bottom floor and a top floor. As a grenadier, I would strongly urge to get a 203 in that bottom door there. And that's what we're going to try to practice from being out here in the field. To do this, I typically would advise making sure that you're going to hit a wall when you shoot through the door, and you're not going to shoot like through a window or something on the other side, because then that's going to be useless to you. But yeah, try to make sure you're going to hit something on the back side, a wall or a piece of furniture that's going to cause an explosive in the center of the room. And then I suggest aiming the nub anywhere from the center point to the top of the door frame. That's kind of my suggestion for aiming inside here. So we're going to aim at the center point, fire a 203. That was pretty much dead center. And if I shoot at the top of the door frame, I'm more likely going to hit the wall above that staircase in the back. I might hit the frame the frame itself. Yep, too high. Yeah, so you're gonna have to learn those distances of shooting into a room or a building, but getting those awkward grenades through like at these weird angles into these rooms is gonna be your best friend. So you want to practice that more than anything, because in my opinion, when you get a grenade into a room like that, you are definitely going to hit more people than you are in these open fields that have all these rocks and cars and cover and shit. Like people are going to be standing in the middle of these rooms, and you're just gonna clear them out by just doing this. Okay. So practice that, and we can go kind of look at those impacts now. or not, you know, we could not.
Yeah, good to go.
Yeah, so we got impact there, and I think I landed one back here somewhere. It might have been on the stairs, or it might have despawned. But you can see if I go back here and I shoot that from about like right, I don't know, here. I'm in the middle of the room. I got hit, right? I'm just like right here. If I'm in the very back, yeah, probably not gonna get hit. Nope. But that brings up another point. I shot that from this angle on the side, and this is a wide building. Okay, so look at the front of the building. It's wide. It's not as deep. If you have any idea about the geometry of the building itself and the room you're shooting in, you can use that to your advantage to get a better angle and shoot more towards the center of that room to get better space. Now, obviously, the absolute best spot would be to land one on the floor. And let's be clear, throwing a handheld frag is actually going to be way better than using your 203 to kill enemies. Like, let's not lie to ourselves here. This frag is going to hit way more of that room than the 203 would have that I was shooting.
Okay.
The benefit of the 203, you should really think about it like this, is I don't have to put my gun down. Okay? Flicking that switch, it's way quicker than scrolling down, pulling out a grenade, putting my grenade away, pulling my gun out. My gun is always downrange. It's always, you know, fairly sighted up. That's the real benefit of the 203, as well as being able to hit those long-range shots. So here's another spot I like to do. You can see these little, you thought I was going to shoot in the windows. I will, but I also really like shooting and trying to hit these AC units, because they do show the impact marks when you hit them. And I think they're really great target practice, because if you can hit that, you can get it in the window, right? No problem. I mean, the window is a lot easier of a target to get it in. That's not the problem. Getting it in a small target at a specific arbitrary distance is going to be harder. And if you train yourself on that, you're going to fucking get up there. You're going to get way better at doing this and just, lobbing grenades into windows. Yeah, I hit that soft target in front, backboard. Yeah, like I said, these are CQB rooms, so there are targets in there. I find that the grenades don't actually destroy them much unless you hit them dead on. Oh, see, there was a window on the other side. So, see, I didn't check that the cover on the back, and I shot through the window.
Yeah, good to go.
So you want to aim to the left a little bit. Okay, and you saw how I lined up the top nub with the frame of the window. That is a good way to judge a lot of these doors and windows at any distance. Like if we go back out here and we're approaching some objective building from afar, right? Let's say you're on hideout, you're headed towards Bravo, right? With that little, it looks just like this, but it's got the bomb on the roof on the right side, and you've got the big kitchen in the middle. You want to get that 203 in there, aim the top nub near the door frame, and it's too short. It's got that railing in the way. If I was right here, it would work. And see, that one lands squared in the center of the room. It's going to do more splash damage than the grenade I shot, which is going to hit that wall on the side, because this room, once again, is wider than it is deep. So this style of grenadiering, I just made up that word, is going to be way more effective than this whole open ground warfare. Now, obviously, if you're on a defense, you're posted up, you're in a second-story building, you're up here, you're engaging all these guys with your gun, you're shooting them, and then all of a sudden, click, right? And you're out of ammo. You pull out your grenade. You're on defense, right? You're not trying to clear out buildings unless you're trying to go from the top here. But even then, coming in here and popping a 203 is not safe. Not that safe at least, but yeah, you could do it. You could do this. See how quickly you can clear that room? And even if I do that, I can immediately switch over to my gun and get on target. So another really cool way of using the 203 to clear indoors.
Good to go.
You just have to make sure you're outside of that 10-meter distance. I hate hip firing this thing, but that's why I put a laser on. Let's see where it hits the wall relative to my laser. It's pretty much dead set on, right? Pretty much dead center to the laser. So that's one reason I highly recommend Grenadiers put a laser sight on, is because if you really had to, for some stupid reason, 203 into the room without actually ADSing, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. Here's my laser above. Let's get out. There's a little light pole there, just so everyone's clear. Little light pole that'll block your grenades. But see my laser, I'm gonna send it like up there. That seems about where the top nub would be if I was actually aiming this thing at the windowsill. Just short. You see where I'm going, right? I'm saying
Good to go.
you can hip fire the grenade launcher even at range if you have to. For some reason, I don't recommend it because obviously it's not great. But something like this little window here, you can just go, boom, get it in, and do it quickly. And you can just practice that, right? I can practice on this door here. Boom. Let's try another target. Let's try getting it into that little hut over there. 1, 2, 3, and see? Laser sight, people. Lets you hip fire your M203s effectively. And I'm just using the laser sight to get it sort of above where my grenade needs to be. Remember, try to aim the laser sight at somebody's sort of head. So if I aim it like at the top of this frame here, that's pretty high, but it's going to be a good 203.
I'm loading.
Okay.
All right, I'm good.
So that should be pretty much how I go about training on the grenade launcher. Another place you want to shoot at, there's a lot of places you can shoot at. The unfortunate part is you have to go all the way back here to restock, because even if I shoot a 203, I can't resupply just anywhere. It's really annoying. I wish they would fix that sort of, so that I could just resupply anywhere. Just remember, you can reload and go get a new grenade. But I do highly recommend coming out here and shooting at this building. Also, we talked about shooting at walls in open terrain. Balconies usually have a wall behind them for the most part. So instead of shooting at this left side over here, you want to try to aim for that wall and hit on the back of the wall as a backboard. Okay. Also, you will do friendly fire to your observer and eventually take damage on yourself because of it. But that's okay. Also, instead of running all the way back, you could just do this. And now I'm fully stocked up on grenades. Just another pro tip if you want to do really long range grenade testing. So let's say I'm on farm. There's a really tough place I want to check out and try to get a grenade on. You can run all the way there and do that. And there is a place that I think is actually a really good spot to test out on the farm map. And we're gonna go run over there and show you. First off, this building, when you are coming over from the Charlie, I think that's Charlie objective. This building here usually has a guy in it, and people will swarm it from the left or the right. These ruins in the back, there's some backboards you can shoot off of to hit. So we can just call that term backboarding or using a backboard. But yeah, I'm not going to shoot it because I want to show you the real problem I'm trying to go see. See these backboards? Look for stuff like this that you can arc your grenades off of, because what you're trying to do is usually you want to blow your grenades before you are in a room capturing an objective, right? Because on defense, your grenade launcher's not that effective. Sometimes, you know, you may be on like Ministry or something, and you're in some CQB environment where you don't necessarily want to waste your grenades, and it might be helpful on a defense. But 9 times out of 10, the best place to use them is to clear out these frickin' buildings and these unsafe spots. So I recommend this building, and I recommend Delta. There's a window over on Delta that I highly recommend you shoot at. On that left side there, there's that window. Go up there and pop a 203 in there. Definitely. On Charlie here. This is a great spot. You've got this this courtyard with these this objective building you're gonna have to assault. This thing's got a beautiful window and door. Second deck. There's usually 3 guys in that room that you need to take out. Also, and I don't recommend shooting at the stairwell door down there, but once you get 1, 2, or 3 from that approach from Bravo into that side, hey, come over here, put a 203 on this side. There's nothing wrong with lighting up the objective building if you still have 203s left over to knock shit out. And look at this. I even have a backboard I can launch off of for the back balcony. Those are the kind of interesting puzzles you need to solve as Grenadier. Because if you're not, damn it. Because if you're not, then you're just not using your grenades to your best of your advantage, hitting those targets that are highly concealed. The problem I wanted to talk about over here is Bravo objective, which has the bomb is usually right here, right? So you have to take out the bomb, and that's really hard to do. You have this awful approach up this staircase here that everyone gets in this fatal funnel and gets shot either from here, or there's a guy popped behind a sandbag somewhere prone, or you're just getting shot by AI through this railing. The problem I really want people to train on is being back here and getting it underneath this arch into that back wall, that backboard. Because what that's going to do is you're safe out here, right? You don't have to do shit. One thing I usually do as a regular rifleman is I'll come here and I'll just lob a grenade deep over this wall. Let's go see where that lands. Yeah, it landed on the roof. If you throw the grenade from here, you can get it over under that archway. But as a Grenadier with the 203, that's a problem I really like that people can check out. So we're gonna aim our. I think that target is about 30 meters away. So I'm gonna aim my bottom nub about halfway up, and we're gonna send it. That's about where I wanted it. A little high. I just wanted it to kind of coast over that wall a little more, so I'm going to aim lower on my second shot. Boom. Coasted right over the railing, impacted on the back wall. Both of those shots could take out an objective. See, that one's a little high. And the second one landed, I don't think it had a decal for it. Unfortunately, it might have hit this light. I'm pretty sure it hit that light. Yeah, that's kind of a fun problem. Also, obviously, on this approach, you can just pull out your AT4, and you can get a shot, a really cheeky shot right there on the left side through that archway. Let's talk about the AT4.
Okay, let's go. Hurry, brothers, yellow.
So, this thing's #1 goal is to take out a technical. If you use your AT4, you better have 203s as backup. If you use your 203s, you better have an AT4 as backup. Now, obviously people are going to memorize the maps and learn which objectives have a technical and which don't, and that's great. Do that. But I recommend keeping your rocket fairly safe in case your team lead or squad lead calls for it. A lot of times somebody will be like, hey, send a 40 mic or a 203 into that room. Or they'll say, hey, I want to rocket second deck on that building or whatever, right? And that's what you need to worry about. The AT4 has about the same splash damage as splash radius as the 203, but it's pretty much an insta kill if you get hit with it, unless you have heavy armor, I think. And one thing I want to demonstrate is that it shoots in a straight fucking line forever. There's no fall off on its range or its capabilities, and we're going to demonstrate that by shooting it through this this green doorway here on Delta, which is, I don't know, fuck all far away. To aim the AT4, you literally just line up the little notch there in the middle with your target. So I'm going to shoot it right at that back wall. Send it right in there, straight. I'm not even going to go over there because I'm not going to, I don't care. Everybody saw it go through. The AT4 flies straight. That's all you need to know. And now that you know that you can shoot that thing in all kinds of interesting places that you might not think about. For example, I can shoot ceilings inside of rooms, in the center of a room, to get a good shot off in there. You know, a 203 might be good here, right? A frag grenade might be good here, but you could also send a AT4 in there. Now, you wouldn't want to do it on that objective because that is the one that always spawns a technical. So, we're going to do a little technical training. You can also do helicopter training, but we're going to spawn a technical. See? Let's see where it comes. There's usually also one other guy that spawns with it that has an RPG. So be wary of that. I got it up. There's a guy to the right. Okay. I don't see a technical. I have to engage this target. Alright. Rocket ready. I don't see the technical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap over to my grenade launcher. We're going to see if we can hit this guy. I think he's right over this this rock formation here. I'll see if I can see his gun turret. I think I see... Let's see. I don't see him, but I'm gonna try to get this. Nah, I don't think I got him. Your job is to take out the technicals. Now, this guy didn't actually come after me, unfortunately, so I'm gonna have to go after him. What I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna move with my my rifle out and ready in case there's contacts around here, which I know there's not. This is how you should approach it. If you are going to hunt a technical, you would want at least a couple guys with you, right? And you want to use all you have at your disposal to take it out, because that's your #1 job as a grenadier. So I'm gonna lob in grenades over there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. You see, I did not hesitate. I lined up the shot and I fired. I didn't care about the guy that was there. I just aimed and I shot the technical. And that's kind of what you should do. But I used everything at my disposal to destroy that thing. If you fail, if you die, then it's up to everybody else to lob literal grenades or pick up your rocket off your corpse and try to hit that thing. And that's just not a fair bet compared to what you can do as a grenadier. I can't spawn a new vehicle, so I have to reset enemies, and then I can spawn another one. Same direction. Rocket. Getting ready. Contact. 203. And that is one drill I like to do. Hit the guy with the 203 and the techie with the rocket.
Okay.
And you know, if you do this enough times, you'll realize that technical can come a couple different ways. It kind of gets stuck, sometimes it doesn't. This one keeps coming this way. Oh. See, I prioritized the technical because it was still moving, which was the right call. If hopefully somebody else would have been up here shooting that guy with RPG, but my priority was the technical. Now, if I had killed that guy, I probably would have also had time to take out the technical. It's a judgment call, right? For me, taking out the technical is way more important. We're not going to hit it this time. We're going to take out the guy and see what happens.
Reloading.
I missed. He's going for the gunner seat, I think. Cheeky spot. And you can see how straight and narrow this thing flies. I aimed right at the front, the grill on the front of that thing, basically the nose where the headlight is, and I hit it and took it out. That's as easy as it gets. Yeah, so once again, please practice your windows, your doorways, and get those nades lobbed in there. Because the better you are with the 203, the better you're going to be in overall. And use it to soften up buildings and rooms rather than open field combat, because it's difficult, it's not as safe, it's a lot harder. You know, trying to soften up a room is a lot better than anything else. I'm going to hit this guy on the side and show you that I don't think these do as well against paper targets. See? The paper target got hit literally right next to that thing and it didn't do anything to it. I have to hit it dead on for it to actually destroy the paper target. So I don't know what that's about, but it's annoying. By the way, all the paper targets respawn if you die. Right? So, see? It doesn't do anything to the paper targets, but whatever. So you can kind of use those just to like make sure you're hitting something, but I don't recommend really training by hitting paper targets, because your goal is to get the grenade in the center of the room, not just the front. Right? So you want a better target that you're more likely going to have to aim at. You know, like that window back there. That's the money target. Right. And remember those AC units. Those are really fun to shoot at too. This is kind of how I approach training for Grenadier. Obviously, you have other options. You can also grab yourself an extra frag, or even just a flash, and have a lot of explosive capabilities with your heavy carrier. So as a Grenadier, I also suggest being really, really, really good with the frag grenades, because you can carry a lot of them, and you're required to have at least one. So, you know, learn to throw them in buildings and doorways and stuff, and get good at bouncing them, and you know, using them to the best of your ability. Go watch the rifleman training video and learn to be the absolute best Grenadier you can possibly be by being the best rifleman you can be. Let's see if I had anything else on my list here. Those are kind of it. I think there's a lot of really cool problems, like I said, you can solve in different maps. You know, a lot of cool things you can do in this game, and walking out there and shooting at these doorways and the balconies and all these windows and the targets and the walls, that's just going to be how you get better and better and better. Training, training, training. But yeah, that's I think that's it for our grenade training demonstration. This is Lieutenant Cordite signing off. Take care.